was humorous. Thank you. All right, so let's see. We left off. I told you all the story of my past year. A lot of good things, some bad things. And the ultimate point that I was trying to draw for you was I've let some of those bad things dictate my Thanksgiving to God. I use those as excuses to not give God thanks at certain points in my life because I was upset, because I was unhappy. Right? So there's this story that I want to tell you about that you all know. And as I tell it, I want you to see who are you in the story? It's about 10 lepers who encounter Jesus on the border of Samaria and Galilee in the book of Luke. First of all, I want to look at the reality of this disease, leprosy. You guys have heard of it, and some of you might not know exactly what it is, but after doing some research, I did find quite a bit of information about what this disease really entails. So leprosy was known as one of the worst diseases of their time. And why that was because of the symptoms that came with leprosy. It attacked your body in many different ways. It inflicted you with sores. Your skin would basically rot. It would kind of fall apart to the point where you would either lose fingers or toes because of how bad this disease was, and even damaging your limbs. And so not only did you look like rotting flesh, but you even smelled like it. So people didn't want to be around you, right? 10th grade, y'all got some bad BO. Like, I can't be around that. That leper is probably far worse. So because they smelled so bad and they had all these problems, they couldn't be with their families. And so they were forced to go away outside of their families and communities because they were unacceptable to have around people because they were contagious, right? You touch me, you get it. So I can't be around people. People don't want to be around me because I stink and I look ugly and gross, right? And so what they would have to do, because they lived on the outskirts of towns and their leper colonies, if they wanted to go into town, they would have to announce to everybody, I'm unclean, don't come touch me, right? Humiliate themselves so people know you can't come near me. Because if you touch me, you get what I get. And you don't want that, trust me. It's not a fun disease, right? So everyone would know you were a leper because you smelled like one, you looked disgusting because your skin was rotting and falling apart, and you would have to humiliate yourself by going into society and shouting that you were unclean and you cannot be touched. It's kind of an embarrassing disease to have, but it was awful. And as far as I know, there wasn't really a cure back then, so you would just suffer until your body completely fell apart. Right? So, in our story, we'll read it together. Now, on this way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. And as he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. And they stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. When he saw them, he said, Go show yourselves to the priests. And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw that he was cleansed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner? Then he said to him, Rise and go, your faith has made you well. There's so much that I can focus on in this passage, but I have very little time. So, to sum up, Jesus' location of where he's at when this happens is very important. His interaction with the leper is very important. And the point of the story, I think, is the most important. Some people draw conclusions, and I'm like, the point is so clear. Jesus performs this miracle, but only one of the 10 return to give thanks for the healing. Right? You can even see how shocked Jesus is, and maybe even saddened. Where are the 10? I healed 10 of them. Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Why did you only come back? Right? You were the only one? He's kind of shocked. And what I draw from this, and this is the whole point, Jesus wants our thanksgiving. Does he not? He desires that from us. And of all people to give him praise in this story, it was a Samaritan. A person who couldn't stand to be with the Jewish people. A person who would never eat with, or talk to, or befriend, or be seen with the Jewish people. And I even read once that they wouldn't even share dishes with each other, because that was seen as unacceptable. And a Samaritan was the one that came back. A person, this Samaritan, who experienced one good thing out of all the bad things, to come back without hesitation and give thanks to the one who gave to him, right? I think the 9 lepers felt gratitude. I really think they did, right? They were grateful that somebody healed them of their disease. They felt it, but they didn't do. They didn't go back like the one leper and give thanks to Jesus for what he did. In a few moments, we're going to look a little deeper. I'm going to compare myself with this leper. How our stories seem to be similar yet quite different. And how this story we should apply to our lives, not only as we celebrate Thanksgiving, as this weekend is all dedicated to that, but as we also make every day a Thanksgiving to our Father in heaven.